Welcome to Super Agents Live. This is the one place where you can come and hear the most successful people in real estate. You'll hear how these super agents built their businesses, how they stay productive, and how they stay motivated. Who am I? My name's Toby Salgado, and I made my first $1 million in real estate. Yeah. And I'm your host for the next 30 minutes while we talk to yet another amazing real estate entrepreneur. Stay tuned.
Let's go! Yeah.
Hey everybody, what is going on? I hope, man, February is going good for you guys. I'm excited. I'm really excited about this year. As I've shared with you, I think 2016 is going to be a great year for us. All sorts of things are shaping up, man. It's you know what, not to talk about me, but it's just, people reaching out for speaking engagements. It's one of those things, man, you put in the reps, you do the time, and it just opportunity is everywhere. It's amazing. And it's good. It's good to be wanted, right? It's good to be for people to think you have value, which, whatever. All right. Hey, look, today's episode. And I got to let you know, I think I've said this before, but I have a ton of stuff in the can. And some of it I haven't released for whatever reasons. Here's how I do this, right? So I have in the studio here tons of flash drives everywhere. And, there's content on all of them. And typically I will do a recording and I'll grade it, right? So I have a grade there. And then when it comes to me releasing stuff to you, I'll look at those grades. Now, the deal is, what I've kind of learned is that, number one, like what I think is valuable, or something that I maybe think is not that valuable, you guys can see value there. So I'm kind of taking a fresh approach to all this stuff, and I'm just going to start dropping it. That's it. I'm just going to start dropping it, and hopefully I don't, if there are some ones in there that are not as awesome as others, hopefully you don't hold it against me, right? I hope you keep tuning in. All right. Hey, look, here's what's up today in the show. All right, couple things here, and these are all good things. We talk about first. We talk about this person has a team of 30. She talks about her genesis, right, going from just her as a solo agent to then building a team of 30. And she's a Remax person, so that's a little bit unusual. That typically those are KW folks. We talk about how she started working with builders, okay, and why is that, okay, and this is something. Couple things here for you guys to go, hey, am I doing this in my business? So number one, we talked about how she worked with builders, but how I perceive that is she diversified her business. So for you, right, the question that you guys should ask yourself is my business diversified? What happens if the market goes opposite, right? Turns down. Are you going to go away? Are you going to be irrelevant? And again, we saw a lot of that happening back in 06. People thought they were rock stars. The downturn happens and whoops, they're not rock stars. So the importance of being diverse with your business. We talk about how she found a mentor and the importance of finding a mentor. That's something you guys, I get a lot from you guys. We talk about stay in touch with her database. Now, at the Keller Williams event, Gary Keller went up and he really dug into the slot. He said, hey, look, your database is your business. I would 100% agree. So the question for you is, number one, what does your database look like? Number two, how are you building that? And both in a passive way, i.e. something on your site, and then in an active way. And then once you have your database, what are you doing with it? What are you doing with it? I know all this stuff, and I'm not as good as I should be. I have in my database, I segment my database. They're all in different lists. People who are interested in radio, people who are listeners, people who signed up for my book. I have like 20 different buckets. And what I try to do with those buckets is I try to communicate with each of those buckets, each of those lists, with content that I feel that is appropriate or interesting to them. Now, I just don't do it enough because I have 20 buckets. It's a lot of work. I probably should just send out put out good content and just blast it out to everybody. But again, for you guys, how are you communicating with your database? What do you say, and how often? And I'll tell you, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to ping your database. Is one email per week too much? No. Is 2 emails per week too much? No. I mean, as long as it's good content. And if you look at internet marketers, go find some internet marketers and get on their list. See what they do to you. And some of these guys will just pound you. And but for a lot of people that I'm on their list and I get pounded by their emails, I won't unsubscribe because I'm waiting for that. I want to see what's next in terms of their content. All right, so database, staying in touch with it, staying shifty and adapting to the marketplace, and there's a big one. A Keller also pinged on this. Do you know your value proposition? And if you do, hopefully you do, you need to shout that out, right? That's gonna make you unique in the market. And today's guest, we chat about that a little bit, and how she leveraged her value proposition to get her working with builders. Now, here's the thing. Now, as I kind of looked through this episode and looked at the highlights, diversify, find a mentor, ping your database. You know what? It's such a perfect fit. You guys, this is like my podcast thing. We're building, it's called Viralcast. I've talked about it a couple times. I'm super, super, super excited about it. We're building the website. It should go live today. But here's how I see agents, particularly agents using a podcast. Number one, the whole notion of building the brand of me or you, like a podcast is central to that. But here's how I see people using it. Number one, you go out in your marketplace, you interview all the people that you want to meet, right? Developers, entrepreneurs, investors, the top financial planners, the top CPAs, all these people that could help you. Right, by in 2 ways. One, having a relationship with them, that's important. And going to these entrepreneurs or top financial planners, the only way you as a realtor are really going to be able to sit down and have a 30, 40-minute conversation with them is having a show. If you just lob a call and go, hey, my name's Toby, I'm a local real estate agent, and they're going to go click, like they know what it's about. But if you go, hey, my name's Toby, I have a show, I know what you're doing out there, it's really interesting in the market, I would love to feature you. That absolutely come on. So number one, I see you guys or agents interviewing those kinds of people, building a relationship, number one. And number two, using that content now to ping your database, right? How are you talking to your database? Well, you release this content and a couple things happen. Number one, in your database's eyes, your value is going to go up because you're super credible now, right? Hey, Toby has all these people that he's interviewing on his podcast. Well, he's somebody that I probably should know, right? Or again, you as an agent, when I'm going to list my house, Toby knows everybody. I'm sure he can get me the best deal, the most money, whatever. All right. So interview people, build relationships, use the content to ping your database. And the last piece, this is where the magic happens. This is where it goes from one to many, is the fact that this is press for this is that financial planner that you just interviewed. You give him a link to the site, to the interview, and you go, hey, feel free to use this in any way you want. You know what? They might put it on their website, they might send it out to their database, but all of a sudden you get success by association, you get introduced to a whole new group of people, and you grow, boom, boom, boom. I'm really excited about it. Anyhow, send me an email, Viralcast. Don't look for the website. It's not live yet. Hopefully it'll be live later this week. But get early, man. Get early. You can own the category. Don't let that other guy or girl in your market get there first. Okay, that's it. Let's get to it. I hope you enjoy it. Today on the show, I'm thrilled to talk to today's guest. Now, today's guest is the number one team in Atlanta. She has a little over 30 team members. Last year, she did a little over 400 deals for a total volume of 90 million. I'm thrilled to welcome Tamra Wade. Hey, Tamra, thanks for taking the time out today.
Thank you. I'm excited to be on the call.
All right. So listen, I want to get to your team. I want to get to your business, what's working, what's not. I want to hear your story. But before we get there, I'm always curious about you. So take a minute, tell the audience a little bit about yourself.
Okay. I guess do you want me to kind of go back and give a little bit of my history of how I got into this?
Yeah, absolutely. Go. Just tell whatever you think is relevant.
Okay. Well, I got into this in my early 20s, mother of 2 little boys, and just wanted to do something. If I had to be away from them, wanted to do something that was going to, in my opinion, worth my time. I was going to be able to give back to them in different ways, and got into real estate. Actually went in a situation of hostessing in a new construction subdivision, and basically, difficult homes were in there at that point to sell, and I managed to basically sell those really quick. And being a hostess, I could not, I say sell them, I got excited about them, and when people come in, I give them information, and they ended up going under contract. But the sales manager at that time for one of the builders here in Atlanta put me through school, and basically my career took off from there, from being an on-site agent to then going into management for another really good-sized private builder here in Atlanta. And then we had the market change, and new construction, obviously was not, the thing that was going, not a whole lot was, and I had to figure out, okay, what am I going to do? And so I got into the general real estate side, and under the wing of a top agent here in Atlanta, and she had actually been seeking me out for a little while, and, learned short sales, foreclosures, worked with buyers, sellers, did anything, and kind of still kept in touch with my builders. So when the market started coming back, I was their go-to person, and kind of from there grew this team of, basically, just me in 2009 to a team of just over 30 by 2015. And so we sell both new construction and in general real estate.
But your niche is, I'm on your site, and everybody, if you want to check out Tamra's site, it's TamraWadeandPartners.com. But your kind of thing still is working with builders. Is that right, Tamra?
It is, yes.
So I think that's a very enviable position, right? You have the builder building, and they go, here you go, Tamra, listed. I mean, people would love to I think you're doing some unique stuff in Atlanta. Number one, you're a RE/MAX team, and it's very unusual to have a large RE/MAX team, and it's very unusual to have this builder kind of centric focus. What is your value proposition to these builders?
I think the key thing is that I've come from the new construction background, so I understand basically what's involved in that, from marketing, management, staffing the communities, competing against these big public builders, being able to, with the private builders that I represent, get them out there, make them look professional, provide them with basically a full service, new construction team. So they basically get a marketing director, a sales manager, a contract closing coordinator, but they don't personally have to hire them. They actually fall under me. So, and I do it for a very minimal cost to them. So it's not that they have to give me a big amount of marketing dollars and that kind of thing. And I know how everything works. I know the structure and everything from being on site and managing a builder.
So you go to let me see if I got this right. So you would go to a new builder and you'd say, listen, look, what you do good is build houses. What I do well is market them. So give me no dollars. Just give me a model home. I'll furnish it. I'll staff it. I'll market your project.
Correct.
Got it. And then do they still give you a 3% side or no?
Yeah, basically, I'm figuring out how to do all this from a 6% commission. So obviously 3% to our wonderful co-op agents that help us sell homes. And then I've got to take that other 3% and figure out how to do everything else and make the builder stand out.
That's really, really interesting. That's really interesting. That's a really, a model where you just come in and I think as a builder, that would sound compelling, right? You're gonna staff it with, and I'm looking at your team. It's your makeup is a little bit interesting. It's 90+% women. How do you? So again, okay. So that's a unique value proposition. How do you tell the builder, hey, this is what I'm going to do to help you stand out against the Syntex, the Lennars, the privately traded builders of the world?
The first thing, when I go into, an interview with them is I bring in our marketing, because the first thing they're doing is they're looking at, okay, what are you handing out to people as they come in? Because, I think their concern is, is she just printing off this black and white, blueprint and handing that out? How is all that being done? So we're, basically taking their logo, if they have them. Not all builders do. Not all builders have even begun to even think of branding themselves, because maybe they've done like 5 to 10 houses here and there, and then all of a sudden they've decided, okay, we're going to go in and really just try to take on a neighborhood. Well, even if it's one neighborhood for that builder, we will go in and come up with their logo, their colors, their signage, their collateral, the templates, the whole 9 yards, so that when we basically, put it out there to the public, it looks like this builder has been around a long time, and this is not their one community or their couple communities they're doing.
And so, and at what point do you get involved with these guys? I mean, are you finding a little tract of land where, 10 lots, 30 lots, 50 lots, whatever, and then going to your builder partners and going, hey guys, here's a deal, here's a piece of land, right? Here's 30 lots, who wants to bid on it? Number one, to answer that. So are you getting involved at the acquisition process?
Not really. Here's where I kind of come in. Mine has been referral based. Home South Communities was back in 2000, and I guess I would say 2011. They is when I started marketing for them. Some of the owners of Home South Communities I knew prior to. So they basically, I began marketing for them and did a really, just did a great job. And they referred me to another builder, which it dominoed from there. And then I think it's just been for me, it's been word of mouth, I guess, from different individuals just stating that, our team does a good job. I'm one of those. I love what I do. So, it's kind of one of those things where I'm in it 7 days a week. And even as my team has grown, I'm still heavily involved in the operations part of the day-to-day meeting. I meet with my builders once a week. Some of them, they want to meet once a month, but I'm still in front of them, so they see that, even though I've grown, they're still very important to me, and I'm going to take the time to meet with them and go over anything that they need.
Yeah, and I would imagine, as a builder, you can come in and say, listen, guys, right, this is what I do. I know real estate and I know the trends, right? So I know what, that boomers want to downsize. So this is the product that you should build. Like, do you help them navigate through the type of product they build, as well as, helping them with fit and finish, or is it just, are you purely a marketing person?
I do. What they'll do is most of my builders, they'll go ahead and they'll put, a letter of intent on, let's say, a tract of land or, existing lots in a neighborhood that maybe was, going back in 2005, 2006 that, went through the market changes and now is ready for a builder again. And so they'll go ahead and say, look, we've got this letter of intent or we've got this under contract. Mm-hmm. And here's what we're thinking. Some of them do that and say, we're thinking $200,000, this product. What do you think? And then what I do is I will run a full in-depth competition analysis, go out and get all the competitors' packets, put it into a detailed report and tell them. And some of them, they don't even give me any kind of guidance. They're like, we just put this under contract and you tell us what to do.
Wow.
So I use things like smart numbers and metro study, the listing services and the communities, the existing competition out there to, build up basically my case to the builder of what they should do.
Got it. Okay. Now, if somebody is in a different market, and they want to try to model you, what advice can you give them in terms of, I guess the first thing that I would think of, Tamra, is there's got to be a sweet spot in terms of size, right? Like you can't, somebody that's building 100 units, maybe that's too big for you, or that kind of, that person's well enough capitalized that they wouldn't need you. Is it 5 to 30 or what's the magic number for the size?
Well, one of my builders, he's really analyzed this because, he's tried to weigh out, is it a good idea for me to do my marketing in-house or, use a Remax or, some other companies out there or, like my setup, which, like, I guess I should say Remax doesn't have this setup so much here in Atlanta. I'm probably one of the only teams. There's few teams. There's not a bunch. There are more than just me, but there's only a few teams.
Yeah.
But the magic number here in Atlanta, I'm being told is somewhere between 300 to 400 homes.
Wow.
Because it's expensive for these companies, I guess, to hire on that contract closing coordinator and that marketing person and that sales manager or two sales managers. Like actually right now it's me, and I've actually this year, because we've grown, taken one of my top-notch agents, Belinda Deeb, and put her into a sales management position as well. So I think once they weigh out the cost of the marketing and just everything, it's probably about 300 to 400 homes is what I'm told.
Okay. That's good to know. Okay. Well, you said something interesting. When you were doing this with new construction, when the meltdown happened, right? 2008, 2009 for other markets. You had to kind of reinvent yourself. Now, what you said earlier to me, Tamra, was that you found another top agent and kind of fell under her wing, right? Her guidance. So I imagine that was a mentor. So talk about that mentorship a little bit and what you got out of it.
Well, I guess since, my father actually, when I was younger, always told me, follow the successful people, watch what they're doing. And so when that opportunity came and I was able to come under the wing of a top Remax agent here in Atlanta, she basically taught me the value of, just making sure before I head out with somebody, that I ask all the right questions before taking on a listing. It makes sense from all the different levels, from financially to the location of the property. But the other thing was, at that time, she was not big into short sales. And I mentioned foreclosures when I was first talking. I was not a foreclosure agent, never took on that level. I worked with buyers who purchased foreclosures, but I was not a foreclosure listing agent when the market was down. My niche was short sales, and at that point I found an attorney a closing attorney that staffed up his people to help out with that. And I still had fabulous years, and the downturn, still coming out on top in rankings and stuff like that. But it was just finding somewhere to focus. And then the other thing was learning as much as I could, getting certified and finding partners, being like a closing attorney who knew what they were doing. So that, definitely helped me out.
Well, and look, I think that model, clearly, like you have this track record of finding partners, right? So first you found the builders, and then they supplied your inventory, right? Your work. Then you found this attorney guy, and then, he's hooking you up with his client. So you're able to jump on the wagon of people who already have, marketing going or a book of business or clients. Was that just on accident, or were you early on deliberate about that?
Deliberate, pretty focused. I'm one of those, like when I take classes, I was heavily, like when short sales became the big thing, I was heavily in classes and had my ears to the ground as to who's doing what, who's having success, and what are those key components to their success, and then just basically mimicking them.
Okay. So if I think about you, Tamra, and your business and what you're doing, what you have done, I mean, you are a marketing person. So let's talk a little bit about marketing. What do you find is working for you in Atlanta?
Well, Atlanta, I mean, as we all know, I guess, in general, people go to the internet. Mm-hmm. So, you've got to make sure that your websites, your pictures, all of that is top notch, because a lot of that information is syndicating out to different websites, whether they're paid sites or they're non-paid sites, by, me being the individual. The other thing, marketing wise, I mean, for the new construction is just your signage, getting people to the subdivisions, is a really, really big thing. And then, referrals. I mean, I have people that I worked with, 5 years ago that are now, coming back around and saying, okay, we're ready to move up. We're moving out of state, heard of you from a friend or a family member. Just providing, I think maybe saying the big thing is, providing the service, and just when you say you're going to do something, you do something.
Well, what I love about your business model is that, so you become, you and your team. So number one, I'm going to go, I see some kind of marketing you're doing. I go to, Stone Ridge Estates, right? So then the first person I'm going to interact with is you or your team. So all of a sudden you are the face of Stonewood Estates, right? You're the person at the center of the community. And I think the opportunity for you is that somebody comes to you, they want to buy a new house. Well, maybe they need to sell their old house. Right. So you get to list their house. You get to make, so you kind of double in it there. And then if you, and I want to know if you continually drip them with direct mail, because, again, 5 years later, they want to step up or move out of state. And you're obviously, if you've done your job correctly, you're the person. So do you, in terms of staying in touch with those people and those communities and really owning that community, what are some of the things that you do to do that?
We go ahead and we do newsletters. We've done them on a monthly basis and a quarterly basis, just to keep ourselves out there in front of people. People coming into the subdivisions, they're on an automatic. We put them in a drip campaign specific to the communities to stay in touch with them. But we also have, we have a database, a very big database. And so when we're sending out information about neighborhoods, we're not just hitting on just the people that went to, that neighborhood. We're putting it out to this big database of people from all neighborhoods, from, people that have purchased with me even, back in 2009, 2010 when I first started it up, and then the general side. So we just kind of really rely heavily on our database.
And so, and how is there anything unique that you do to build that database other than just, obviously getting everybody's contact info that walks through the show, why can I say that? The model home. Mm-hmm. So, no, I'm sorry. I messed up that question. So let me ask it again. Is there anything unique that you do to build your database other than just, again, get the contact info of the people that come through the community?
When we do marketing through Zillow, so we've built our database from, the leads that we've received from there. And truly, Zillow has been a great, opportunity for leads for us, and great resource for us. But I'm not a big person on buying leads. I've tried it. I've tried it multiple times, and, that's probably not where I get a lot of my leads and how I build my database. It's more from the communities and Zillow and just friends, family, referrals, that kind of thing.
Okay. So nothing, okay. Community, friends. So we talked a little bit about mentorship. Was that top agent and I asked about it earlier, but one question I like to commonly ask is who's been a mentor to you? So maybe if I asked you that, who's been a mentor to you?
Well, The agent, and
Okay.
I'm sure she would be completely fine with me saying her name,
Sure.
is Paige Plager. She's not with Remax any longer, but she's running her own company. But so Paige Plager has been a great agent that I worked with. Mentors, I guess some other mentors. I've had coaching. I've had coaching from sales managers that are in the business. I've done John Maxwell. I've done some of the others, like I'm trying to think of some good ones that maybe people might. Charles Clark. I don't know. Some people know them, and Myers Barnes, and just those have been probably some good mentors, role models for me to follow. And then, of course, like my dad. So.
Sure. And that's great. And really, here's what I'm trying to get at is that, certainly people can go and pay and buy a mentor, buy a coach, right? That's one thing. Mm-hmm. But, I'm always curious about how somebody like you goes and convinces that top agent in town to spend time with you and to teach you the tricks of the trade that they've learned through years of their own experience.
I think, with her, what I did was I basically gave to her before I asked her to give to me. So meaning that at that point, and it's going to be different for everybody, but for me, I was an on-site agent. She was a general agent. She knew that if she brought her clients to me in my subdivision, that I was going to provide them with top-notch service. I was going to make her look good. And I did. And everything I committed to, I did. And so when it was the market was doing its thing, I think for her, it was, gosh, I could really use somebody like that on my team. And she was willing to give me the information to help me grow on that side because I helped her grow her business, when she would bring people into me.
Okay. Now, you said that a couple times, right? Top-notch service. I think that's at least the second time you said that. Unpack that. What does that look like to you?
For me, it is being available. And I don't put time limits on, my cell phone. Hey, if you call after this, I'll call you back the next day. I understand, that this is a huge investment for people. And there's so many different emotions, good and bad, that flow into this, concerns, questions. So when I say top-notch service, it's making myself available to them. And that's for people and builders and my agents. I see even my agents on my team as my clients. I don't think my agents on my team are just my agents. So I want them to feel like they're getting everything they can from me. Sometimes it's tough because I'm only one person, but I commit to being there for everybody. The other thing is that from a marketing standpoint, I don't just put out some piece of marketing, a flyer, whatever, just to appease somebody. If it's going to go out and be marketed for a neighborhood or a builder, it's got to look good. It's got to be proof of verbiage. Everything's got to make sense, and the accuracy in our work. So from contracts and paperwork, I'm a stickler. My team would say that to anybody, is that we're there to protect our clients. So we're going to make sure the information, the paperwork's done correctly. And if it's not, before it gets, completely signed by all parties and it's an enforceable document, we're going to go back and we're going to correct it until we get it right. So that's kind of my big thing.
So this is kind of for me. When you stressed. I mean, you're really hands on. I mean, I don't know how exactly you manage 30 people and 400 deals with being that hands on. Are you working like 80 hours a week, or how do you, without putting limits on your time?
I am, and I think that's one of those where making sure I've got even though I'm hands on, having good people in place as support. Like I've got my closing contract coordinator is amazing, and I've got a great sales manager. I mean, yeah, I am. I'm working crazy hours, but it's because I have a passion for what I do. I think it doesn't feel like that for me. And I'm a mom of 4 boys.
Wow.
So it's kind of like trying to juggle that too, but I've got great support from my family and my husband that helped too.
Let me ask you this. So when you put Sally at Stone Ridge Estates, right? You put Sally, Julie, and Jill. And they're the team at Stone Ridge Estates, and they're armed with all the marketing materials. And really quickly, side note, on your marketing materials, certainly you create them, but do you have like an in-house, professional copywriter or who does that? Right.
I have one person. I have one girl who handles that part of it, but that's all she does. She does nothing else other than marketing.
Well, I'm talking specifically about copywriting, because writing copy that hits, that resonates, is, for a particular kind of product is extremely important, but it's also tough. Is she classically trained as a copywriter?
She's not. Now, we do use other companies out there, like Atlanta Real Estate Forum, M-Relevance is basically who they are. Atlanta Real Estate Forum is the blogs that they do, but M-Relevance is a company that we use for a lot of our PR and a lot of our, writing purposes and stuff. But I will, but I will say, like, my agents, they do a lot of their own stuff too. They do a lot of their Facebooking and their blogging and that kind of stuff, and we just proof it for, accuracy and that kind of stuff. Okay.
Now, what was in relevance? What's the name of that?
M is in Mary, relevant.
Oh, got it. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I had something else. I kind of slipped my mind. I was trying to Google that word talking. Okay. Look, what do you know? You've been at this game for a long time. You've been through the good times and the bad. What do you know now, Tamra, that you wish you would have known when you started?
Try not to ever have all your eggs in one basket.
Yeah.
I think that was a big thing, because I think a lot of times new homes, you can get carried away and just go in that one direction. And that's why, I've really tried to even keep my general real estate side going and growing for that reason, that we have a great market and everything, but you just always got to be prepared for kind of whatever changes come your way. So just knowing, having your ear to the ground, knowing what's going on, and never just putting everything in place.
Yeah, you got to diversify. And in terms of diversification, certainly you can diversify new homes versus resales. Do you also diversify in terms of price points, right? The entry level as well as the luxury?
Well, my price range, we will take on, let's just say, a listing at $50,000 and welcome it and do everything that we would do for a listing that was $900,000 or $1 million. So we do. I've worked with clients all the way up to $1 million, and we have listings right now in our new home neighborhoods too that are, $800,000, and we have neighborhoods that are $100,000. But we do marketing equivalent for those $100,000 that we're going to do for $800,000. So, we're very consistent on how we market and everything that we do.
Got it. So the question I was going to ask earlier that slipped my mind is, again, you have Sally, Jill, and Jillian at Stone Ridge Estates, right? And they've been there. If you're doing a 300 unit development, that's going to take a few years to do. How do you keep them from saying, hey, listen, Mr. Builder, I'm the one doing this whole thing anyway. You don't need Tamra. Why don't you just roll it over to me?
The key thing is, I think, for the builders to understand is it doesn't just start in the subdivision. It's a full service, full package deal. So it's the management, the experience that I'm bringing to the table of, being in this industry for 16 years and being one of the top agents for 16 years straight, and just really knowing that they've got me. I think that's a comfort level for them, but then also for an agent to do a 300 home community, they've got to have the staff and the professionalism of the people that I've got on the inner office too to support. So that's probably, I think, one of the biggest things. It's not easy just for one agent to go and take this on. You've got to be able to provide everything for the builder.
Have you ever lost? Has anybody ever taken one of your clients from you?
Nope.
Wow, good for you. About 16, a decade and a half. Okay.
Yeah.
We have to start wrapping up here. Okay. Look, I always ask for a book recommendation, Tamra. And, whether it's a book on real estate, a book on marketing, you can, whatever you think. So here's the setup. I'm an aspiring agent. I have $25. What book should I go buy today? I should have prepped you on that one.
It's going to be probably, it's okay. It's okay. It's probably going to be something pretty simple. It's, when's the one? I don't have a right, like the exact thing. Who moved my cheese or whatever, something like that. Like, you've got to be prepared to always, like, that was one thing with me. Change is inevitable. You've always got to be able to bend and twist and mold yourself to it, basically be a chameleon, in my opinion. And you've got to welcome change, good, bad, or indifferent, and make it work. And, one of the key things for me, and I instill this into my children who are, right now I've got one that's 15 months and I've got my oldest is 18. And I instill this in them from early on, is that failure is not an option. Nothing is ever given to you. Nothing is a gimme. If you want life to give you everything that it can, you've got to work very hard at it and never give up, even when it seems like it's really tough. Because, staying in something and working hard at it will pay off, and other people will see that, and it will, you'll see success.
Well, so that competitive, never die kind of attitude or spirit, have you always been like that? When you were a little girl, were you like that? Or is this something that has developed in your professional career?
No, I was like that. I was that kid in class that always had, hand up in the air when the teacher would ask the question. I was the one that always wanted to answer it. I've had a very competitive part of me since I was young. Now, I will say that I was a very shy person. So even though I was in the class putting my hand up and asking all those, or, trying to stand out like that, I was not that popular, outgoing kid. Like, I bet you in my high school class, if someone said, Tamra Wade, they know me, but they were like, oh, she was one of the cool kids. My life, my career is what brought me a lot of joy, but it's also helped me come out of my shell and build, now I'm definitely not shy anymore, but yeah, that's kind of my story.
Well, no, that's great. That's great. I mean, I love hearing some of the backstory. So, did you, when you were a little girl, when you were a little kid growing up, did you always want to be successful? Did you know, let me ask it this way. Did you know that the way that you would find yourself is through building a business?
No, believe it or not, I wanted to be a lawyer.
Wow. So,
yeah, I wanted to be a lawyer or a doctor or something like that, but I wanted to please my dad. That was my goal. My father worked very hard. He's and he's been very successful, but it was always for me this inner thing of being, I want to be something big one day, and I want to make him proud, and that's kind of been kind of my driving force in my life. Don't know why, but that's been it.
That's awesome. So you said your dad was successful. So growing up, were you upper middle class? How successul were you, or was he growing up?
Oh, I mean, we were probably middle to, then we went to upper middle class. So, but nothing to the day that I moved out when I was 19 years old out of their home, and I've never asked for a thing. I've been never given, nothing's ever been just handed to me on a silver platter. Everything they taught me the value. I started working, I guess, when I was 16, and in a car wash, believe it or not. I was taught that you've got to work and you've got to earn everything for yourself, and that maybe was probably what's helped me today, is that you just got to work your butt off if you want to make anything or do anything.
Yeah, absolutely. So knowing, your dad had a really good work ethic. That sounds like it bled off into you. Was there this sense of I have to be as successful as my dad, or I want to be more successful than my dad? Because I have to imagine that apples to apples, you make more money, than he did.
Yeah, I mean, I guess my thing was just to basically there was never a limit on what I was going to do, and I never placed a limit, whether it be with him as to where I was going to, what I was going to do as far as success. It was kind of, one of those that, keep pushing forward and going as hard as you can, and you never just should plateau somewhere. You just got to keep trying to do better and, work harder.
Well, so is your dad still alive, Tamra?
Yes, he is.
So you always want to make your dad proud, did you? Have you?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Now, and that's awesome. Now, we're just real quick. My background. I have a degree in sociology. So, for you, were you the oldest, or where were you in your lineup?
The oldest of two.
Got it. All right, there you go. That's the oldest is always the hardest working one. I'm the oldest myself. Okay, perfect. That's it, man. Oh, so everybody, Tamra recommended "Who Moved My Cheese." And here's the title: "Who Moved My Cheese? An Amazing Way to Deal with Change in Your Work and in Your Life" by Kenneth Blanchard. Go get a copy. Get a free copy on us. Just use our link, audibletrial.com/superagentslive. Hey, Tamra, listen, I always encourage my audience, if they've gotten anything out of this, to reach out and say thank you to you. And look, maybe somebody has listened to this and goes, I'm in Atlanta, I want to join her team. It sounds amazing. Where can people find you, Tamra?
One thing I would say is go to our website, TamraWade&Partners.com. We're in Duluth. Our office is the RE/MAX Center in Duluth, and they can always email me directly. Tamra, Tamra, Wade @gmail.com.
Awesome. And everybody listen, if you're riding your bike, walking your dog, driving to work, don't worry. All this stuff will be on the show notes at Super Agents Live. Hey, listen, Tamra, I'll be the first one to kick off the thank you train. I thank you. I know you're a mom of 4, 15 months old. I don't even know how you do that. You have 30 teammates, and you're putting up big numbers. So, good for you. I wish you much future success, and I really appreciate you taking, 40 minutes out of your day for us.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right. Let's keep in touch, Tam.
Sounds great. Thank you.
See ya.